So with that error solved, the application is running again. Now I can start adding goals again. For example, master React, and also let's say check out our courses on React. Now I added these goals, and now I actually also have another error in this application. Another error which won't lead to a compilation error here and which won't show up here on the main screen though. If I delete my newly added check out other courses on React goal, you see it's there. Actually, the other goal I added was deleted, even though I clearly clicked on the check out other courses on React goal. So, since that worked before in the other course modules, there has to be something in my code that is causing this error. So what could be the problem here? I'm not getting an error message here on the screen, not here in the terminal either. So how can we now solve such an error? Well, there are a couple of things you can do, a couple of steps that are worth a try. Let's first of all go to the place where we have that deletion logic. We got our course goal list, and there we have on delete where we trigger props on delete item. If we go into a course goal item, we see on delete is in the end triggered when we click on that. I don't really see an error here. We are forwarding that ID. In course goal list, we just pass on that event in the end to on delete item on the course goal list component. So if we go to the app component, where this ultimately is being rendered, we see that the delete item handler is executed. And there we get the goal ID and we delete a goal. Now a goal was deleted, as we saw, just the wrong one, so the deletion logic in general seems to work, but maybe the ID is wrong. So maybe we should go to the place where the IDs are generated and assigned. And that's here in the add goal handler. And here indeed I changed something. I set my ID to a hard-coded string. Previously here I used math random to derive a pseudo-unique ID. Now with the hard-coded string, I introduced a logical error here. The error is that I assign the same ID to all goals. So therefore, they're no longer distinguishable by ID, and hence if we click on a goal, the first goal that has the ID, which is found in the goals array, is deleted. And that's always the first goal I ever added. That's why not this goal was deleted, but the goal which I added before. So that's a logical mistake. And I was able to narrow it down by going through that complete chain of events. We click on a goal, we trigger the deletion handler, and I had a look at all those steps to narrow down the problem, to finally find this problem here. And this is a perfectly fine way of trying to solve this. Now here's another thing that could help you. If I add goals again, check out other courses on React, and master React. If I do that, and I again click on the first goal and the second one is deleted, let's now open up the developer tools here. And there, let's have a look at the console, the JavaScript development and debugging console. Here, the browser gives us any logging messages we added to our code, and also some warnings and errors that are thrown by the library, which don't crash the whole application necessarily. And here we see that we got a warning actually. And we get that warning already when we add a goal. The warning that I get here is in the end that React encountered two children with the same key. So two children with the same key were found here, with the key goal 1. And this is implicitly related to our deletion problem. Now again, we're not getting that warning when I delete something, we already get that warning when I add a new goal. But this already tells us that we have some error in our code, because if we got two children with the same ID, with the same key in the end, then we seem to have an error in our code where we assign the same ID multiple times, which indeed is the problem we have. And React, of course, also tells you where that problem occurs. This here is an error related to our list, because that key concept, as you learned in the lists and conditional module, is related to lists. But it is related to the list here in that unordered list in the course goal list component line 8. So again, you get a pretty clear idea of where this warning in this case is coming from, and you can then have a look at the code there and find out why that problem occurs. And if you then work your way back to the place where goals are added, which is the place where the IDs are added, which in turn are the things that are used as keys here, we do use the goal ID as a key, well, then you would be able to come back to that place where the hard-coded goal 1 ID is. Because we even see that goal 1 is the problem here in the warning. So that's another way how you might have solved this problem. But you can also use another approach. You can use the debugger built into the browser. You can use breakpoints.